Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. I hope everyone well wherever you are. I'll try not to waffle as often, probably go over the top, but I know these intros, I got to try and find not to abbreviate them or make them shorter or whatever. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as ever, I welcome all your support of my channel. Appreciate any new subscribers, any likes, new subscribers, sharing the video and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, as I mentioned in part one, I hope to build a bridge between African and Asian nations as both a Pan-Asianist and a Pan-Africanist, as I hope for my fellow mixed race be able to be as well. So any Pan-Asianists and Pan-Africanists and stroke or anti-imperialists generally, I hope will support these. I hope you will support these videos if you fit into that category. So anyway, here it goes. So number 11, I would love to I would love to change perceptions of Africa and Asia, especially Africa, and like people seeing it as just a place where there's lots of poverty and things like that, instead seeing it as a place where there's lots of opportunities. I was thinking earlier that technically yesterday that that if Africa was that poor, how come so many of these countries like more covertly, like countries like America, the UK, Japan, Russia, and places like that, want to go into Africa to invest. And obviously people know about China investing in Africa. So and sometimes the relationship between African and Asian nations, such as China and the rest, and Africa, or even China and other Asian nations, unfortunately, is not as great as I would like it to be. And I think sometimes it's said that especially the Chinese and possibly the British and others and Americans as well, for instance, look down on the Africans. And I think that's a terrible shame. And I hope that the Chinese will see that the people who slag off China and try and bring China down, or who don't want, and who don't want to see China do well, are normally Western countries, really, like Britain and America, who don't want to see competition. Whereas it's Africans who don't really, as far as I'm aware, look down on the Chinese or Asians. They just want to be treated better, I think. So I hope that they will have a common bond with the fact they were colonized, and they can work on republicanism and things like that, supporting republics. I'm obviously a bit biased in that I support Pan-Africanism and Pan-Asianism and republicanism, but I also hope they'll increase democracy over time, and also libertarianism especially, again, as I mentioned in part one. And I also hope, as I often mentioned as well, that they will have more awareness of disabilities, such as also including physical, mental, and learning disabilities, including mental illness awareness, because I think with hidden disabilities like mental illness and learning disabilities, it's not obviously the same as people who are in wheelchairs or physically disabled generally. So obviously those are things that are more visible. Hence, invisible disabilities. I hope they'll have more awareness in countries like China and India and across Africa and Asia generally. So there'll be more rights, and they'll see that people with dyslexia have different talents, not necessarily less, in many cases more, in many ways, or even more important talents and more out-of-the-box talents, such as coming up with innovative ideas and things like that, as many organisations such as Made by Dyslexia and Dyslexia Advantage mention. So as I mentioned in previous videos, I hope that there'll be more awareness in both Africa and Asia. And again, Egypt, I hope, will facilitate networking between both African and Asian nations, so they can learn from each other and learn about certain things like dyslexia and ADHD as well as each other's industries, and support inventors, ideas people, investors, entrepreneurs, excuse me, business leaders, what do you call them, and that sort of thing, and change makers, creatives, and that sort of thing across Asia and Africa. Again, supporting each other's businesses and trading and investing together. Sorry about that, my voice seems to be going. Number 12, I hope they will mentor and motivate and encourage each other as well, and look at positive things about, like Asians talking about positive things about each other's countries within Asia, and Africans doing the same for Africa, and then also Asians and Africans talking about positive things they think about each other's continents and countries respectively. So yeah, people can, and then what they can learn, so what African countries can learn from China and India and that sort of thing. So hopefully, again, it'll be a mutual benefit. I think most importantly, to benefit as many countries and peoples across Africa and Asia as possible. Number 13, I hope they will look into problems like the problems Sri Lanka and other countries. Pakistan, I think, is another one, that the problems they are going through and how they can help each other solve those problems, such as the effects of climate change, natural disasters, how to, if not prevent them, at least limit the damage, and look at how they can support each other when they go through problems. Maybe form non-aggression pacts and things like that. And I think it's a terrible shame at the moment with the war between Russia and Ukraine that they're trying to, it seems like a lot of countries are trying to drag African and Asian nations into it and pay people from Africa and Asia to come and fight. And I think that's a shame. Number 14, on that note, again, I hope they will solve problems after acknowledging such problems, and look at ways that they can help each other in their time of need, and have each other's backs, basically. And like, if there is a natural disaster, heaven forbid, or a terrorist attack or anything like that, or an invasion, that they will be able to have each other's backs and be able to lessen the negative impact. If they can prevent such incidents, it'll be even better. As I say, prevention is better than cure. But as I say, I hope they will network together to solve those problems. And I was thinking, with a bit of a controversial idea, as I know many of my ideas are, but with the with people paying mercenaries or whatnot from Africa and Asia to go and fight in the Ukraine, or even Russia, perhaps, maybe people from Africa and Asia, like, I know there's a negative stereotype about Nigerians, especially, where they are involved in a lot of scams, online scams. And I think this would probably be a time where they could ask for money in advance and say, you need to pay us first so we know we're going to get that money for ourselves and our families, and then possibly not show up. Although I suppose now, if I do share that idea, then people from the Ukraine or elsewhere might know and therefore not actually give them money. But also, I suppose once they do it once or twice, people might catch on to it. But I did think that was an idea I'd like to share anyway. Maybe a bit of a naive one of mine, as many of my ideas are, but I know April Fool's is coming up technically, or it is April Fool's already, so maybe I'm being foolish again. But yeah, I think it would be interesting if they took payment in advance, but then didn't show up for such wars. As some pacifists say, and in the future I hope to talk about pacifist quotes, or conscientious objector quotes, or peace quotes, and people saying, like, in the next war, how about no one show up, and things like that. Number 15, again, I hope they work towards shared goals, limiting wars, not being involved in European or American wars, possibly having each other's backs, like the African Union. There could be an Asian Union or Asian Alliance, and especially Central Asia. They could also be places where they bring each other together. But in terms of Egypt, I would like to see Egypt bring both Africa and Asia together, and networks and groups within both, including Pan-Asian and Pan-African groups, and how they can work to ensure their goals work, and that again, Asian and African nations have non-aggression pacts and things like that they stick to and are held to account by each other, so other Asian and African nations condemn any Asian or African nation that goes against each other in terms of wars or anything like that. And again, looks at disputed territories and how to use them to turn negative into a positive, where they can work together to share goals and network together to tackle poverty, terrorism, climate change, global warming, natural disasters, or all sorts of things like that, and preparing for such things. Again, if they confront it, it's even better, but otherwise, at least curing such problems. And even scientists from Africa and Asia working together to tackle illnesses, diseases, and things like that as well. Number 16, I hope to have committees and think tanks, cooperatives, brainstorms, or whatever you want to call them, which look at ways to tackle problems and see what's the best solution, or what are the best things that Asian and African nations can do for each other, for their own nations and for each other's nation as well, respectively, again, across both continents. And again, Egypt to facilitate such, to host African and Asian scientists and things like that. Number 17, I hope to celebrate success stories, imagination, creative things, and that sort of thing. What architectural and other such projects that have been designed across Africa and Asia. Number 18, I hope to talk about how working together can improve both continents and all their nations, and tackle poverty, as I say, and things like that. And having each other's backs and things like that. Number 19, I hope to support such areas in both African and Asian, especially African software developers, And number 20, I hope to support both continents in terms of areas like STEM as well. And I am out. Twisms.